So we are buying 30% of our crude from Russia, and now the Americans have
So yeah, good evening. I was just listening to the presentation by the Attorney General, Mr. Kavesha, on ZNBC. I followed the program. It was a good program. I just like his composure. I like his maturity. I like his wisdom. And I just want to emphasize a few points which I think are of high public interest. The interview was very straightforward. He didn't choke us or daze us with legal terminologies. It was very straightforward. Let me switch on the aircon. Don't know where the energy goes, I'm feeling okay, but just standing up, just walking, I mean, even just talking, it drains energy out of me. I just don't understand this. Anyway, yeah, that's what it is when you are firing on one kidney. One kidney. But it's very interesting how our politics can be so malicious sometimes. Even when you are sick, you go through what I went through, people will still find something else to bring in and just to mess you up. It's very difficult. What I went through, and somebody is coming around and saying, "No, you saw the kidney." When Kondwani Banda was saying that life is hard, that's why Tayali saw the kidney. He was barely joking, but others took advantage of that and ran with that to create lies about it. And other naive people keep still sending me messages asking me where they can sell their kidneys. My brothers and sisters, there is nowhere where you're going to sell your body parts. There is no such business in this world. There is no such business in this world of selling your body parts. No, there is nothing. So please, don't easily be cheated. Don't easily be cheated. It is unfortunate that the PF propaganda, they will stop at nothing, to smear fake narratives, to lie against anyone that is opposed to them. Anyway, but from the way I'm seeing, ba UPND balikwata ba PF balikwata machinery, balikwata chi machine chitamia obufi chifumia obufi tabakwata ensoni mukubepo obufi ba PF tabakwata ensoni. Look at even that story of the general, the retired general, Brigadier General Banda, that man who was shot. They were peddling lies about that. They were peddling lies. Today the police have issued a statement regarding that general. But no, the PF are still busy trying to fabricate lies relating to that story. They are not believing what the police have given. But really the statement from the police is straightforward. And the good thing about this is that that man did not die. He didn't die. So there is no way the police are going to give a statement where they know that afterwards the person who is involved is going to give a statement, is going to stand in court and give narrate the story. There is no way. So those of you who are doubting that story about Brigadier General, you are saying, no, but this is a retired general. Do you know what it takes to become a Brigadier General? And how can the Brigadier General miss? And yet the lady, how can a lady overpower him and get the gun and shoot without missing? You are always resonating things like that. You are always rationalizing things like that. But you are rationalizing not because you are interested in the truth. You are trying to rationalize, you are trying to argue because you have your own narrative. But PF tabafuayo okufuma mu bufi bwabo. Tamufuayo okufuma mu bufi bwenu. Nga mwabepo obufi, you want to insist on that. You want to insist on that, and you will go to great length to defend your bufi bwenu. And this is what you are doing on that Brigadier General. You want to hold on to the lie. You have cheated and you don't want to move away from your lie. You want to insist that that man was shot by whoever, he was being forced to resign, and people shot him. In a way, you want to bring in government. Like you want to bring in government, that government wanted to clear that man. For what? For what? Why would government want to clear that man? But that is a narrative that you want to bring in. You are saying he was forced to resign. And now he was shot at. In other words, this man was not wanted by government, and government wants to clear him. That is the narrative that you want. And even here, if I took that narrative, you'll be very happy with me. You'll be saying, yeah, Tayari, very good. You are speaking very good. But the story is straightforward from what the police have said. It's very straightforward. The gun belonged to the general. He pulled out that gun to shoot the lady. He fired some shots. Miraculously, when it is not your day, this man, a general as he may be, he missed. Yes, he's the general. Yes, he's a general. He's a retired brigadier general. But you see, when the day is not yours, even a brigadier general will not be able to fire, accurately. When the day is not yours, even the brigadier general will miss you. And that's how, this lady survived. I don't know how she managed to get the gun, but it was not just her day. But even the general himself, it was not his day. It was not his day. The man was shot in the head. Twice, is it twice? From behind. Who gets shot in the head and survives? It was not his day. But you don't want to believe that. The man was shot in the head, but he's still alive. Eh? He's still alive because it was not his day. It was not his day. And he's stable. And I'm sure the police, when they were issuing that statement, before they issued that statement, they must have spoken to that man. No, he can be stable, but he's not talking. Were you there? Do you know? Eh? Do you know? But for me, it doesn't make sense for the police for them to issue a statement for somebody who is alive without them questioning him. And mind you, this incident happened almost a month ago. So the police must have been investigating. The police must have waited to see that this man is well. Otherwise, they wouldn't have charged this woman attempted murder. I'm sure they were scared to say he might die. For them to come now and make the judgment, make the arrest and charge the lady, it is because I'm sure they are convinced that this man will live. If they were not sure if this man will live as a result of the shooting, they wouldn't have charged that lady attempted murder. Even if wapunko umuntu na alwalisha, if you hit a person in a road traffic accident, the police wait to see if the person will survive. If the person survives, that's when they can charge you with whatever relevant charge. But umuntu ngana alwalisha, when a person is very sick, the police are reluctant to issue a statement or to charge a person because they think that maybe tomorrow he will die. If you see the police charging a person like this as attempted murder, it means, this person is going to live. Of course, he will eventually die by anything else, but at least they would have been convinced that this person is not at risk of dying as a result of whatever happened, whether an accident, whether being shot. No. So, and one thing is that if they are going to charge somebody, it means that this case will go to court. So how can the police lie when the person, the victim, is alive and the victim is likely going to be one of the witnesses? Definitely is going to be one of the witnesses. So how can they lie? But you see, the PF, because they lied, because they want to smear the government, they don't want to believe that. They are coming up with all sorts of stories. Tabakwa tension. Mule kwa tension. Sometimes, mule kwa tine. If I say something and I realize that it is not true, I do come here and I tell you to say, sorry, what I told you is not true. Nomba imutamwa kwa tension, you will continue, you even continue lying. You even bring up more lies just for you to maintain your lies. It's very bad. It's very bad. And this is the same situation now with the story Yaven Trankan. Yava Edgar Lungu. This is the same situation. I must say that I'm very disappointed with a number of opposition leaders. I am very disappointed because some of these opposition leaders, I know them personally. And I know that there are people that can reason. I know there are people that can reason. I know these are educated people. We're afraid maybe for him to be called a doctor. It is not because he just bought those qualifications. But Fred Membe didn't buy the qualification like some of these other leaders that we know who have bought qualifications. But Fred Membe has gone through the training of whatever he has been certified for. But Fred Membe is a very intelligent man. But Fred Membe is able to reason out things and so on. But I'm getting shocked that Fred Membe keeps insisting that no, the family is is correct. But Fred Membe knows that what the family is doing is wrong. He knows, even when he lies in his bed, but Fred Membe knows that whatever Esther Lungu is doing is not right. But Fred Membe knows. But Fred Membe knows that I'm right on this one. He knows. But because of, political desperation, I will call it political desperation. I'll call it political desperation. They are twisting. They are moving away from what is reasonable and joining with Esther Lungu and his family and her family to support what is wrong. Which president, which person, if really you are a man worth to be a president, if you are a man worth to be a president, imagine yourself, you are the one in power right now. Bonse fe mwebalela nda bonse mwebale support if yaba Edgar Lungu, if yaba Esther Lungu, mwebale supporter. All of you who are supporting, tell me, what would you do if you were the one in position of Hakainde Hichilema? Forget about even Hakainde Hichilema. Put yourself in the shoes, in the office of the president. You are the president. Forget about Hakainde Hichilema. Put yourself there. Because some of you are thinking, no, Tayari, you are saying this because you want to come back. Tayari, you are saying this because you want money. I am aspiring to be Republican president. So when it comes to national issues, I don't look at Hakainde Hichilema. I look at what would I do if I were in the position. What will I do if I am the president? That's what I ask myself. And if I look at what I will do, I compare to what Hakainde Hichilema is doing. Are we thinking differently? Or is what Hakainde Hichilema what I will do? Then I will agree with him. If I look at what Hakainde Hichilema is doing, if I see that I wouldn't do that, then I will criticize him. That's how I operate. That's how I operate. I look at myself to say, okay, if I were in the position of president, what would I do? Okay, this is what I would do. What about Hakainde Hichilema, the one who is there? And it may not even be Hakainde Hichilema. What about the one who is there? What is he doing? Are we agreeing, or we are differing? Or there is a difference? And in this instance, what Hakainde Hichilema is doing is exceptionally well. I actually admire Hakainde Hichilema because I think what he has done more than I would do. I don't think I would have the patience. Hakainde Hichilema has exuded so much patience in this. He has exuded patience, maturity. I mean, I admire him for that. I admire him for that. And that's why I'm agreeing with him. Does it mean that I've become his praise singer? No. Does it mean that then I should come back? No, I'm still here. I'm still here, and I know I'll still be here. So other differences, yes, we can have other differences somewhere else, but let us look at issues on their own merit. So once I'm addressing those opposition political party leaders because you seem to have gone one side. But I know that intelligent leaders like Fred Membe, you know that what Esther Lungu is doing is not right. Would you accept that a former president be buried outside Zambia? If you were the president, would you accept that you should be suspended during a state funeral? Would you? Would you accept to be suspended? Because when they're saying, no, Hakainde Hichilema should not be there. Would you accept to be suspended by an opposition political party grouping? Would you? Would you? Would you accept to be at home whilst foreign dignitaries are coming to Zambia and you are not there. Does that make sense? So, I know a lot of you are not agreeing with me and you are against me, even those that have liked me. But really, look at my reasoning. If they chitaba maiwa esta lungu na lupo alwabu tafueme, it's not right. It's not right. Anyway, now this is and you know, whatever they have been saying, that's how they went to court, and the court refused. The court refused to agree with them. The court did not refuse because Chavinga paid lawyers. No, come on, mwebantu. Efirandela ndapo that wa PF tabafu afyo okusumina. Tabafu okusumina. They will always bring up something. We muntu na ulwala tiyo na ushisha kidney. Apa, they took their case to court. They brought their arguments before court. And the court did not agree with them because they were based on bitterness. They were based on bitterness. I've been saying this over and over. Their demands are not positive. They are not building a country. They are based on bitterness. No, the wishes of Edgar Lungu. Edgar Lungu wished that Haka Indeichilema should not be part of the body. Mwevantu na papata. What does that mean? What does it mean? Inepano ndimwe exile. Ero before I die natambo kulanda. Yo, ishilefo Haka Indeichilema. What does that mean? It's bitterness. It's bitterness. It's bitterness. You don't want to forgive. Na mumanda yo ole ingira mumanda we muntu lefwa. You still want to perpetuate the hatred that has been there. At which point do you reconcile with others? Na bonse fe mwebale umfwako fe kwe na fie. Surely. When do we reconcile with our friends if not at the point of death? Inero na mwene kwa chakamwe okala perera. I didn't start accusing this one and this one and this one and this one. What I was asking for is forgiveness. What I was asking for is forgiveness. I even called a priest. Please call a priest so that I can confess my sins and be forgiven. It is not a time to start saying, hey, we aren't chtiref, hey, we aren't chtiref. No, it's not. Te wuntu. And even you people who are listening, if you just put politics aside, you would agree that umuntu ngalefwa, they seek reconciliation. They want to unite with others. Nangumwalipusene shani. Pamfwa, you want to reconcile with people. So number imekwena, are you supporting Lungu to say inenshile fwa Haka Indeichile maka palame kuchitumbi chandi? Are you supporting that? And the court refused. The court refused. Ayoma story ya kwa Makebi Zulu was saying Edgar Lungu will not be buried without him telling a story. What story? Ama story ya bitterness. Haka Makebi Zulu's story, it is all bitterness. And the court refused to hear that. Because if you go into those stories of bitterness, you will realize that even Edgar Lungu himself was not innocent. Even Edgar Lungu was not innocent. Even Edgar Lungu did things. And surely if you compare who suffered, let's just ask ourselves, let's be genuine for once. Let's be objective for once. Who suffered between Haka Indeichilema and Edgar Lungu? Who suffered? Who suffered? Ba Edgar Lungu tabali lepo na tear gas. Tabali lepo na tear gas. Ba Edgar Lungu was not even threatened by the police. Not at once. Not even when the police went to his house when they wanted to cut the gate. No. Edgar Lungu came out and confronted the police. No police threatened him. But Edgar Lungu was not even called to police. Edgar Lungu never slept one day or a few hours at the police station responding to anything relating to himself. Never. So who really suffered? Who really suffered between Hakainde Hichilema and Edgar Lungu? Who suffered? So that's why in Nepal one thing chilifatari and they but tafile panga sense. And that is why even the court has said tafile panga sense. But imoba opposition mwikalile fenomba mwabungana around Esther, and you are saying the court was compromised. The court was paid. Imomwe bantu. Bushabadama judges do they look like they can be corrupted by Chavinga? Who is Chavinga? Who is Chavinga? What does Chavinga know? No, they were compromised. Tapali Fiakobat, they were compromised. Tapali Fiakobat Validia. Tapali Fiakobat Validia. Before you start blaming Ama judges to say Validia, ask yourselves, what story did the Lungu family bring before court? What story? What points did the Lungu family bring before court? What? They brought only bitterness and hatred. That's all. That's all. So whilst you are blaming those judges, you are accusing those judges to have had been corrupted. Ask yourself, what case did you bring? You brought bitterness. You brought hatred. No. Hakainde Hichilema, Edgar Lungu didn't want him to be part of the funeral. And the court said, that is not our issue. We can't stop a president of another country from attending a funeral. That's what they say. And surely, can the court stop another president from attending a funeral or from participating in whatever activity in his country? Can they? Can they? Even your lawyer was asked this question. Can the court stop a president to participate in anything in the country, in his country? Can they? Before you are accusing those judges, answer me. Can the court in South Africa bar Hakainde Hichilema from attending? Can they? They can't. They can't. And then the family goes, no, according to us as a family, we don't want Edgar Lungu to be buried in Zambia. And by the way, Edgar Lungu did not say, I want to be buried in South Africa. It is very clear. As you are busy accusing those judges, the question was asked, did Edgar Lungu say, I want to be buried in South Africa? Even yourselves answer that. Did Edgar Lungu say, I don't want to be buried in South Africa? Did he? Edgar Lungu left a will of bitterness. A will of bitterness. A will of bitterness against Hakainde Hichilema. But he didn't say I should be buried in South Africa. It is the family that has come up to say, no, we want him to be buried in South Africa. Why do you want Edgar Lungu to be buried in South Africa? No, we don't trust the government. We don't trust the government. So because you don't trust the government, then Edgar Lungu should be buried in South Africa. Okay, fine, let's hear you. What don't you trust the government on? You are saying, no, we want to bury Edgar Lungu in South Africa because we don't trust the government. The question is, what don't you trust the government on? Can you give us the reasons why you don't trust the government? No, we don't trust the government that Hakainde Hichilema will not be part of it. Really? Really? Isn't that the bitterness we are talking about? Isn't that the bitterness that we are talking about? Is that what the court, is that what you want the judges to rule in favor of you? That you have got a point. Yeah. You have got a point. Let him be buried here. Because if you go and bury in Zambia, Hakainde Hichilema will be part of it. What about public interest? When Edgar Lungu was in State House, Kaunda said I should be buried at the farm, and the children insisted that he should be buried at the farm. They went to court and they ruled to say no, public interest is bigger. When you become a public person, you belong to the public. You are part of the people who voted for you. So, in other ways, what I'm trying to talk about here is that it is unfortunate that you have even started maligning innocent judges in South Africa. You are calling them corrupt. You are calling them corrupt. But you are calling them corrupt. What is your case? Before you call those judges corrupt, the issue is, what is your case? What is your case before you call those judges corrupt? What arguments did you make in court before you call those judges corrupt? Let's be fair, Bani. Let's be fair. That judgment, it is a very simple judgment. A very simple judgment. Based on what was submitted in court. And clearly, what case are you holding on to? Now you have gone to appeal. You have gone to for an appeal. And you are saying, no, they should not look at Kaweche Banda. Kaweche Kaunda's case. Okay? So, basically, before I come to the grounds of appeal, I want to answer this one, the issue of where is the body. So, apparently, what happened was, according to Bakaweche, according to Bakabesha, what happened is on Friday, when the court directed that, the body should be repatriated and the body should be handed over to government. That was the ruling on Friday. The ruling was that the body should be repatriated and the body should be given to the government. So what happened was that immediately after, the Zambian government started making arrangements. They started making arrangements so that the body can be handed over to the Zambian government. But the Lungu family, the Lungu family played Mingala Toshavo. They were running about, okay? They were running about, and instead they brought, they informed the government to say, and by the way, this is the lawyers now, because when something is in court, you talk through lawyers. So what happened now? They told the lawyers of the government to say, we have appealed. You see, we have appealed. So upon that, they stopped pushing for the body to be released because they said they have appealed. So the Zambian government withdrew from pushing for the body, which was something prudent. Like Bakabesha said, that we were decent. Because if it was Makebi Zulu would have not respected the word from the lawyers of the Lungu family. Makebi Zulu would have gone ahead, to fight to get the body. But the Zambian government respected their word because they informed them that we have appealed. And according to the South African law, is that an appeal acts as a stay. This is contrary to, there's an article that I had given, but from what Bakabesha has said, it's different. according to the South African law, an appeal acts as a stay, meaning when you appeal, then the execution or the orders which you are given have to wait. Have to wait. So you follow me very well here. An appeal, not an application for appeal, but an appeal acts as a stay. So on Friday, after court, the lawyers of the family informed the lawyers of the government to say, we have appealed. We have appealed. And since the law in South Africa says that an appeal acts as a stay or stops the orders from being executed, the Zambian government waited. Okay? But when they received the documentations, later on in the day, which was after 16, and you see, they were playing in Mingalato. First of all, from court, they were running away. And, you know, they didn't allow the Zambian government to interact with them so that they get the body. They were playing around until later in the afternoon. They phoned the Zambian government to say, we have appealed. Okay? So the Zambian government waits. Oh, okay. Now let's wait for the documents. But when the documents came, what came were the notice of appeal. Now, notice of appeal is different from an appeal. You should understand this point very well. Notice of appeal is not an appeal. You know, it is asking the court the leave or asking the court permission to appeal. There are cases where, you know, the judges clearly says, I mean, you are free to appeal. Okay? But there are some cases where it is silent. And in this case, you go to court and ask to say, okay, you gave us the judgment. But this judgment, according to us, we are not satisfied. May we please appeal? And this is what happened. But not when they communicated. When they communicated, they said we have appealed. Okay? But when they gave the documents, they realized, the Zambian government realized to say, it was only a notice asking the court, we want to appeal. And it wasn't an appeal. Meaning to say, they played Mingalato ababantu. Efirandera ndati munjereleko muri obukuruku. Ababantu balate Mingalato makuruks nwa mafia. First, they were running away. They couldn't allow the Zambian government to get hold of the body. And next, they say we have appealed. And yet, it was not an appeal that they had filed in. It was a notice of appeal, which is different from an appeal. An appeal, it means, okay, fine, it is there. It has started. The case has started. But these people, they filed in an application, notice of appeal. And yet, they told the Zambian government to say, not to start appeal, which made the Zambian government to hold back, not to look for the body. Akantoapa, they don't want the Zambian government to see the body. And pali body, pali uwile. There is something mysterious about this issue of the body. Because they are so much running away from anyone accessing the body. Pali uwile. Anyway, in the evening, which is after 16 hours, the Zambian government received a notice of appeal. And I assume by that time the day was almost done. That was Friday. So they couldn't do anything. And thereby, the body is still with the family. And why is it still with the family? It is still with the family because the family, they are playing in Mingalato Pali body. They are playing in Mingalato Pali body. Pali uwile, pali ichiripo apa, pali body palia. Pali ichiripo. Because court ya veva kachitensalenda body bambo kubutuka next babepo bufyati we have appealed okay next ama document yese basanga it's a notice of appeal. Somebody is written to say notice of appeal is a start of an appeal. Yes, Frank Chilufya is a start of appeal, but the point is at that moment it is not an appeal. Yes, just like fertilization is a start of a life of a child, but you cannot say there is a baby. You can't. Fertilization is it is a start of a life of a child, but there is no baby yet. There is no baby yet. So the point is that the Zambian government, for example, if they had received that notice of appeal and they had time, they would still be able to execute the orders, because a notice is simply asking the court to say we want to appeal, and at that moment the orders are still effective. The orders are still effective until when the court rules to say yes, you can appeal. Once the court agrees to say yes, you can appeal, then the stay comes to effect. As we speak, the orders can be executed because the court has not pronounced itself. The court has not pronounced itself. What is happening at the moment, Mingarato Shiripo, because this matter happened on Friday and Saturday, probably people are not working and definitely they are running away. I am sure Makebi Zulu and the family, they are definitely running away. And the family, they are running away because they know that at the moment the orders are effective. But what is important is the word that Bakabesha used to say we are decent. We are decent. The government is acting maturely. If the government was not acting maturely, believe you me, they would have secured that body on Friday. But the government is being prudent. The government is being deliberate. The government is being respectful. The government is being mature. Tabale chitakwati ni Makebi Zulu. If you bati nga ni Makebi Zulu nga mwalimu enako. Because Makebi Zulu is not mature. Makebi Zulu is not prudent. Makebi Zulu does not do things out to objectively or with respect. Makebi Zulu doesn't. But the government is being respectful. And this is a point that we should get. Because even me, I said to say government is a wire. Government is a wire. And this is where I'm appreciating the government, because if it were me, surely, I would have handled this case differently. Differently. Mama. Even if a friend member, even you never friend member, and even these others, Nakaka Miracle President, you would have handled this case differently. I don't know which political leader would handle this matter the way Aka Indishima is handling it. Most of us, we are very emotive. Most of us, we are fire. If it was me, I'm telling you, on Friday they would have secured the body. Even on Saturday they would have gone to open that mortuary. Even on Sunday, we would have gone to open that mortuary to get the body. But this government is saying, Bakabesha said, we are being decent. And I admire that. So, what is there, Bane, at the moment is not an appeal. It is a notice. A notice meaning they are asking the court, can we appeal? And the court will look at this probably tomorrow. Probably tomorrow, Monday, the court will look at it. They filed after 16 hours. meaning ama judges nishna vaya kale and whatever. That's when they were filing it. Now, on Monday, the court will have an opportunity to look at that notice of appeal. They will look at the notice of appeal and the grounds. The grounds. What are the reasons why they want to appeal? What are the reasons? And Bakawesha said that they have raised 17 grounds. And some of the issues that they have raised on why they want to appeal. Number one is that no, you can't give the body to the government. Okay? You can't give the body to the government. Number two, they are saying, no, you can't use Kaweche Banda's case. Number three, they are saying, no, South African law does not accept. Okay? And other reasons thereof. Oh, and then they are saying there was no agreement. Okay? These were very important points that I picked up. Number one, they are saying, no, you can't give the Zambian government the body. It's not their body. It's not their body. Edgar Lungu temo anawakwa aka inde ichilema. So you can't give them their body. You can't give them the body. And then they are saying, no. The South African government said, the court said, as much as this case happened in South Africa, we have to look at the laws in Zambia and the policies in Zambia. Because the person that died is a former head of state. So we need to look at what happens to a former head of state in Zambia. And the Lungus are saying, no. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. You don't have to look at the Kaweche Banda case. You don't have to look at the Kaweche Banda case. The Kaweche Banda case did not go to trial and whatever. They are coming up with their own technicalities. Then third, they are saying the South African government does not allow the body to be given to somebody else other than the next kin, the next kin. Then they are saying there was no agreement. Now, let's look at these arguments. Let's look at these arguments. Number one, they are saying, no, you can't give the body to the government. Okay, you can't. No, you can't. The court clearly said this man was a former head of state. And as a former head of state, personal and individual aspirations are set aside in preference or are set aside in preference of the public interest. Public interest outweighs personal and individual interests. You hear that? That is what the South African government is saying. That this person was a former head of state. And as a former head of state, personal and individual interests are set aside. And this is just the truth. And we can cite many examples where people who are in public have had their personal wishes and families have had their wishes or interests, and all that was put aside. Earlier on, I was giving an example of a pope, Muchech, Pope Francis, and I'm sure even there are also other popes who have died. But Pope Francis had his own personal wishes. And the family had their own wishes. Unfortunately, the church had to decide according to the church tradition. The church has to decide. There are many instances where people who are in public they had asked for something, and yet, I mean, public interest overrides their personal wishes. So what is different about Edgar Lungu and his family? What is different? How many times have you seen people who are in public offices where their wishes have been set aside? How many times? You would cite, there are so many examples which you would cite world over. World over. So, Chawashan different kuri Lungu. For you to say, the court cannot give the body to the government. Then you are talking about Kaweche Banda, you are bringing in technicalities because Bakawesha quoted the Kaweche Kaunda case ya Kaunda. And you are saying, no, you are bringing in technicalities. Makebi is bringing in technicalities. But Makebi Zulu, you are not the one to determine what is judicial jurisprudence. No. No. You are not the one to decide. You can't decide what is jurisprudence or what should be part of our case laws. It's not you to decide. The Kaweche Kaunda case has been recognized as a case law or as precedence. So whatever technicalities Makebi Zulu is bringing in, it can't stand. Kaweche Kaunda case is part of our case law. And you can't change that. So even appealing on that, it won't do. It won't do. Then the third point, they are saying, the third point, what are they saying? The South African law. They're saying, no, the South African law says that you have to give to the whatever. It was argued in that court that whilst the South African law is that you should give to the family, there are circumstances where common knowledge must be applied. If there are interests that comes in, common knowledge has to apply. And there are cases which were cited where the so-called next kin was not given that relief. There are cases which they cited. And in this instance, the South African government recognized the laws of Zambia. Recognized. They said, we can't just look at the South African law. We need to look at what obtains in Zambia. And in Zambia, the benefits of the president and whatever clearly states that a person, I mean, the government comes in when this person dies. No, he was not treated properly. He was not as a president and whatever. The court refused to hear that, to say those are other issues. So, the issue of saying no, the South African law, the court addressed that. We were following and we heard it. The fourth reason is that no, there was no agreement. The agreement which was there, it was not an agreement. We were supposed to talk again and whatever. Okay. The court was very clear, even during the trial. We heard it in court. The judges said, as much as the agreement was not conclusive, there was something that was agreed. As much as the agreement was not conclusive, there was something that was agreed. And what was agreed was that the body must be repatriated. This was common cause. This was common cause, meaning it was it was not contested by either parties. So, even on, whilst you're saying there is no agreement, but there was something that was agreed. And what was agreed, what was not contested, was the fact that the body should be repatriated. What was not agreed was the fact that no, Hakainde Hichilema should not be part of the funeral. But the court in South Africa said we cannot stop another president from participating in an activity in that country. We can't. It is beyond us. That's what the court said. So based on these, because these were the most important, according to me, most important reasons. So these are what I've just told you. These are the arguments which they, Lungu family, have asked the court that we want to appeal based on these reasons. But from what I've told you, do you really think these grounds have, these points have grounds? I don't think they have legs to stand on. And since when you are asking the court has got a responsibility to respond. You are asking the court, can I appeal? What the court does is to look at your grounds of appeal. When they look at your grounds of appeal, the court will say, leave to appeal not granted. So tomorrow, what we will be hearing tomorrow is whether the court will agree that the family should appeal based on those grounds. The court will read the grounds. When they read the grounds and when they think to say, maybe somebody else would look at it differently, then they will grant the appeal. But that doesn't mean that the appeal has been won. It is only when the court look at it to say, okay, maybe somebody can look at this differently. But if they look at the grounds, they are like, these grounds cannot stand. Nobody else can look at these grounds differently. That application or notice of appeal can be rejected. So tomorrow, they have just ababena lungu n'abalandafi n'abaletama reasons kwa awe ife ruling yenu judgment yenu tatuisumine necho tatuisumine number 1 itetimupere umubiri kubuteko. You can't give the body to the family. No, you can't. But the court is saying, uyu muntu ali ni former president. So, public interest, which is represented in Mubuteko, they have got a right. And that's why Baba paid. Number 2, yote timu wonfe kaweche banda, because kaweche banda ya kesi tapari yoko ya ile chabana shan. But according to the Zambian courts, that judgment stands. And the court in South Africa agreed with it. Number 3, mu South Africa law yakuno tetimupele bambia abantu kupela bamukamfuirwa. And the South African government, the South African court is saying there are situations where that can happen. There are situations where that can happen. It is not cast in concrete. Number 4, at there was no agreement. Bakoti baleba kwali agreement. Echo mwakwatire ya press conference. Mwalikwete press conference. Nicho you agreed. There was an agreement. That's why you had that press conference. And when you had that press conference, bwani seba vita mwali suminisha nyoko bati body fuli atachani ya kuzambia. Mwali suminishanya tamwatali kene. Echo muleta alikanapo chako bati ba Hakainde Hichilema tawafiro kubapo. But mwali suminishu kwa body fuli yaya kuzambi ichiripo muletarikana pakati yo vakainde ichirema tavafire vasangwako. And court yarevati ifwe here in South Africa kuno ku South Africa tatukwete nsambu shakukanya kateka wachalo chimbi ukweva testia sangwe kuchiriro nangu tetayo kunangu tetachifu tatukwete nsambu. So ayo ema grounds nombanga mwayo mfo ayo ema grounds panto ayo ema grounds anomba eyo vapere ku court ko vati yo tusuminishe ntuchite appeal. Do you think the court will agree that these arguments go to another court? I doubt. And why do I doubt? I doubt based on the grounds. The grounds are flimsy. The grounds are not solid. That is number one. Number two, this case was looked at by 3 judges. This case was looked at by 3 judges. And all the 3 judges, they agreed. All the 3 judges, they agreed. It was a unanimous judgment. A unanimous judgment. There was no dissenting. There was no judge who atarike kwa chawe inendefu mweno. So based on that, I'm sure the court will look at it to say, if we watatunga twafumwene mumomwine, I mean, who is going to look at this differently? Therefore, in my view, I doubt this application for appeal will be entertained. I really doubt, based on the reasons that they have advanced, based on the judges that were there, 3 of them, and all of them agree, I doubt. And those of you who are saying, no, valid yama judges, I am a reasons that nami pelapa. Let's just be honestly, inendanda kuchalo, nchilanda kuma politicians. I am a reasons nami pelapa, bushekwena, kutima mwana tuparine ya kudiamu hapa. Even those of you who watched the arguments in court, you saw, even Sean Tembo agreed that, the lawyer did not make convincing reasons. Even Sean Tembo. Once that you're valid. It's because now mwana tapari Philip wapa. So tamukwete reason imbi iya kubikapo kutampo kulanda tiyo valid ya judges. Shimona filamu alela ndati yo tali aleve pafie. Taluele aleve pafie. Alefo afie ndalama. After mwaisa monati kanshi fili serious. Nefironda mwafi mona chi operation mwachi mona. Mwachi njati yo alishisha ama kidney. Because tamufu ya fishinka, you don't like the truth. Echo mwampatila ine. Echo mwampatila because inendande fishinka. Echo mwampatila. You don't like me. No, you are not loyal. Mlefambe loyal mubufi. Mlefambe loyal mubufi. Mlefambe loyal muli fi hatred, fi bitterness. Awe. Inenda kuchechi. I believe in forgiveness. I believe in asking for forgiveness from others. I believe in wumunyinane. That's what I believe in. I'm a patriot. So you can't expect me to be part of if you can't expect me to be. But you don't like the truth. You don't want the truth. You don't want the truth. You are insisting. Apa mule koselela ta mule fo efishinka. Mule fo aya hatred ipitidide. Balungu balifwa. But you still want to continue with bitterness. You still want to use Valungu, to fight the government. To make the government look bad. Yo, tawamsungile wino. Yo chavana shani. It shouldn't be like that. And there is another point that I picked from Bakabesha. Bakabesha keeps insisting to say, even tonight, if the family comes to talk, we are ready to talk. And this is something that even the South African government appreciated. Because whilst you are going everywhere, you are appealing, you are accusing lawyers of being corrupt and chavanashan. Government has always been willing to engage you. Even Hakainde Hichilema, the president himself, said, some of these things we can look at them after burial. They are willing to engage. And even me, as your public lawyer, I am willing to be on your side. I am willing to advocate for you to say, let these people be left alone, nama cases ayo. Let them, just live a normal life. And I'm sure even many Zambians would agree with that position. So Bakabesha is insisting to say, for them, they are willing to engage the family. But if the family is not willing to engage, that's why we are in court. If the family is not willing to engage, we will bury. Because this Vane is not going anywhere. This, I am a grounds. Eventually, it may take longer, but eventually, the body of Edgar Lungu will come back to Zambia. No matter what. Ama reasons yavena Lungu tapali oko wenga atwala. Nangu wenga atwala ku UN, ku Geneva. Ba atwala ku Geneva. I know no one can accept because their reasons are based on bitterness. Their reasons are not patriotic. They don't give unity in the country. They don't respect the presidency. They don't. It's not about Hakainde Hichilema, it's the presidency. So, these are the points that I picked. But I liked also one point which Bakabesha brought out. Bakabesha said, suppose Balungu bafuirire mu Zambia. Suppose Balungu bafuirire mu Zambia. Suppose Balungu bafuirire kumaina soko. Imagine what these people would have been saying. Suppose Balungu was evacuated to South Africa with a government help. These people would have been saying Balungu na wawepa. Remember that ili Balungu bafuire, they even started to say Balungu has been poisoned. Nakachinda said that. So some of these things, kwati nileso tangirila. Because if Balungu had gone to South Africa with the help of government, these people would have turned around and they would have been saying, this government, Hakainde Hichilema has killed Edgar Lungu. I'm telling you, this death, kwa Lungu, it would have been put on Hakainde Hichilema to say, Hakainde Hichilema has killed Edgar Lungu. If government was involved, but umwavela lesa. So some of these things that we shiva fear, but really somehow God works in ways that we don't understand. Here we are, no, government did not do this. Hey, government whatever did not do this. Imagine if government did those things. Imagine if government was involved. Imagine if government is the one that organized the hospital in South Africa. Bushe ngabali toloka babuteko. Hakainde Hichilema ngatatolweke. Hakainde Hichilema ngatatolweke. They would have just heaped it on him to say Hakainde Hichilema has killed Edgar Lungu. But umwavela lesa ave nevalikana. Ba Edgar Lungu balikana. But Patrick Kangobali to say, we want to help how can we help? But Dr. Baba Hakai Baba Lungu Baisalan that we are just informing you. We don't want any help from you. Efo ba ilavene na fyonso fo bachitilave uko. Mpaka balungu bafwa. But even then when your balungu bafwile, they still wanted to say Hakainde Hichilema has poisoned Edgar Lungu. And we told them how. Because some of us we knew. That's how they withdrew. But they were going to run with that narrative. If some of us had not known what was going on, they were going to run with that narrative. But Vaisa Iwelamo, because Twali Shive, if you balungu bafuire. And the government was not involved. But imagine if government was involved. Hakainde Hichilema ngabali muliolio shot to say you have killed this man. So, I think at the end of the day, some of these things happen for a reason. But as I conclude for me, I want to tell the nation that I was a bit frustrated to say government is acting slow. But no, I take back my words. After listening to Bakavesha spoke very well. Government is being decent. They got the orders, but tabalefo kuonfiafia makapuluputupurukutu kuti bachita ndeni eva ukuchita kuti bachita balungu bamaeba esta lungu na makebi zulu wavo kuti bamona kwati na bakwata makati batabakweta maka uteko they got an order abakalabana ababakwati nifimu ifitwa abaifwe if the government of Hakainde Hichilema was, if I were the president, we would have secured that body within 1 hour. So we would have secured that body. So within 3 hours, that body would have been in Zambia. If it were Kalavana forevermore, that body would have been in Zambia. But I am admiring these characteristics of this government. They are deliberate. They are patient. They are tolerant. In this instance, by the way, because other issues I can say something else. But in this instance, they are showing this. So, tomorrow, there is an application whether the court should grant them an appeal or not. I'm sure the court will look at it. If they grant them that, then the Zambian government will come in to give the arguments. So far, the body is with the family. Because the government of Hakainde Hichilema, bali tekanya. But in them yebanganine, nga mwalimu enako pantu ine makebi zuru yangana alimu chef yangana alimu langati makebi zuru tapali ofoli ngana alimu chef ya muntu wandi ine ine ndeti mibepe no kumibepe I admire Hakainde Hichilema the way he's ruling, but kuti namyewe chinga ine ifya msangoyu masangala tonia so ishakali chitatora later. I won't have time. I'm telling you, I won't even pretend. I want to tell you, ineli onka baka teka this nonsense tamwakale itamba pwe. Tamwakale itamba dala mama kebizuru tivatoroka tetatoroke uya mwaiche uya tetatoroke makebizuru tureteka zo muntu wandi pandifana uwine ngaleteka makebizuru ya. Imagine makebizuru aleteka ine makebizuru nali mmona tikalaka muntu kali bipo mutima nali kamwena tika muntu kali bipo mutima kama makebizuru efyo kati chungenye mtembo nchito ule njerera ko muntu mkalamba wandi. I keep talking about you. Kama kebizuru kali koso mtima. ukuya vika mtembo nchito kuna nikane kuli katushinga nikuchongwe kuli ukushama seo zionsa kamtwala kuchongwe kamake bizuru kari umutima kala kamuntu eno kari filani ngafena mulupwa. That's why imwe anyway I just wanted to clarify those issues. I won't open phone lines. I'll open Analanda Sana, so I'm done here. I hope I've helped in some ways. Thank you very much and good night.